What is up, YouTube? How is everyone coming along today on a beautiful, beautiful day? I'm super grateful. Let me just check. Mike is good. We are good. Everybody, I'm excited. I'm excited because today is a day where we get to talk a little bit about the evolution of a conscious creator and what the importance of that brings to us every single day as we go through life, as we go through experience, as we offer our most powerful and expressive experiences from our journeys to the public, to everybody, putting our energy into things that really matter dearly to us. And for me, this has become a really important journey and a role and a way to really take responsibility for my own life so that I can continue to share the experiences of myself and continue to contribute them to the passions and purpose of my own inner being so that it can maybe resonate with anybody else. Because I feel like when we have these really powerful, profound journeys, that storytelling and sharing and vulnerable, intentional stewardship is something that is our divine right. It's also an opportunity to bring people and attract, magnetize, law of attraction, bringing people together, allowing this connection so that there's a level of resonance that is continued to amplify by allowing people to see their own patterns, maybe through my experience or somebody else's experience that I've learned to go through. And then from that place, we can learn to solve solutions together. Because when we see the beauty of each other, of the mirrors of one another within our own expressions, we're able to then navigate a better way of finding solutions as a family, and then steward each other into a better, I don't know, better is the right word, but a new frontier. So I'm really excited. I'm going to share with you a little bit of information around what does it look like to really evolve as a conscious creator. And I think that for so long in my own worldview, I've recognized that there's been an unconscious delivery of the way that I've actually unconsciously been showing up. So the illusion of doing things based off of the standards that society has passed down onto me has been something that I personally needed to challenge. And so for those of you that are feeling maybe in some point in your lives that there needs to be some sort of a challenge delivered or created or understood or stepped through, that we need to make sure that there's an opportunity to really bring that to life and share that in a way that's going to be vulnerable, be open, and allow others to also come through. So I'm going to open up my, I have a little presentation. I like really specifically doing a lot of addition when it comes to or creation when it comes to this type of communication.
And share that
But
in a way that's going to
I want to
be vulnerable, be open, and allow others to also come through.
So I'm going to open up my, I have a little presentation. I like really specifically doing a lot of, there we go. Now, back to reality, back to reality. Okay, I want to put this here. And going to, so for those of you that are here, maybe new, I'd love to know where you're from. If you are watching this live or if you're watching this recorded, please send me a message in Facebook where I'm actually going to be dropping the links so you can watch back the recordings, but also really paying attention to how we can work together in recognizing our business foundations. So here it comes. I want to make sure that we are live and kicking. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Beautiful. Cool. So I'm going to share my screen. Cool. So if you're seeing my screen right now, I'm really here to help you discover and discern and understand that the evolution of a conscious creator and what it means to really set our foundations, right? What does this look like? And I talk a lot about business nirvana and living your own life by design. And listen, I am not here to profess the power of my business. I am not here to tell you that I'm the best business person in the world. I am here to tell you that I'm consciously creating so that I've been through, because listen, guys, I've failed at different businesses 3 or 4 times. And now I'm actually able to continue and creating in a bigger conscious way with right partners and people around me, because I've learned all of the mistakes. And so I keep navigating around really successful individuals that are stronger than me in other different areas of my life, because I am creating in a distinct approach that's allowing me to set foundations of building business, nirvana, which I call, by bringing the right team together, the right people together, the right essence together, the right leaders together. Not because I'm an amazing businessman, but because I'm amazing at building relationships. And that is what the evolution of a real conscious creator is. It doesn't see any change. It doesn't see a competition. Creators, conscious creators specifically, see opportunity in everything. And so for me, this is an opportunity to let you see how important the evolution comes through. So as I was mentioning to you earlier, the evolution of a creator is completely from unconscious to conscious, and integrating that consciousness, right? And so when you're going through the unconscious creator component, you're really feeling unseen. You don't even see yourself. And when you don't have a relationship with yourself, it's really freaking impossible, like completely impossible, to be able to connect to the person around you, because you are constantly stuck in your mind. You're constantly not allowing yourself to be present. You're not seeing the connection of your peers come through to you, because you're actually completely disconnected from the present moment. And when you make a decision to go deeper inside yourself, to have this ability to start seeing yourself, you'll start tapping into the ability of building that relationship. But this relationship needs to be one that is defined and discerned and described through the element of going and rebuilding the identity that you've assessed within yourself. And oftentimes, so I touch base on the conscious creator, where we really rebuild the hierarchy of the sacred sovereign, where the sovereign mindset is developed. So once you're really tapped in to the sovereign mindset, you can start functioning as this leader. And so from a creator, you become this real conscious leader, where you're tapped into sovereign mindset, and you're creatively manifesting this ability to start taking responsibility of your own life. And when you take responsibility of your own life, you're now functioning in society. And maybe it's not in all of the dimensions, or maybe it's not in all of the forms, but you're still able to start seeing things showing up to you as mirrors in your life. And from that perspective, you're starting to gain an influence, because you're starting to see how you want to be treated. And when you start to see how you want to be treated, and you're starting to influence the navigation of what people are able to do, you're starting to be able to move energy. And when you're moving this type of energy, you're giving yourself grace and emotional intelligence, because you're starting to see the responsibility that you have in each relationship. Because the relationship that is being mirrored in front of you is the one that you have with yourself. And so every single person comes up to you and shows you what you've done or what you haven't done to work on yourself. Now, there's a caveat here, because when you go and become this influence, people are going to challenge you. People are going to project, and people are going to try to take you out of your own center. And this is the important part. When you calibrate as an entrepreneur in your own center and you navigate your own world, you can become unstoppable as you calibrate the internal system, your inner being, the knowing. And nobody has the ability to take you out of your vortex or your circle of influence based off of the aura or the energy that's coming through to you, because you've calibrated the shift and you've created standards or boundaries around you that people are unable to actually break through to you. And so whether you know it or not, or whether you're doing it consciously or not, the conscious integrator, it becomes actually unstoppable, because nothing is actually coming in that is allowing them to come out of their center. And when you're in your center, when you're calibrated in your knowingness, in your beingness, in your inner being, the energy that is coming to you is already happening. You don't have to actually do anything. The people that are coming to you are going to come and support you. This is how you start to become unstoppable. Things start happening and magic starts to really help you create with your higher being, with your creator, with God, whatever you want to call it. And this is the magic that is allow you. So how, as conscious creators, do we want to move forward? So the question is, what do we believe about how things should be, and how to question the status quo, right? Because oftentimes these questions of what does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to be successful? What does it mean to live a life by my own design? How can I actually go and co-create with something that is so much greater than myself? And I don't know about you or me or we cannot compete with God or our eternal teacher or nature, right? Like there was just an earthquake in the Middle East. You can't compete with an earthquake. You can't compete with the ocean. You can't compete with the power of our eternal teacher. There's no competition. And so if we start seeing that there is no competition, that we're made of that same essence, of that same power, of that same divine strength, you can't compete with each other. And we shouldn't. We should co-create with one another. And from that place, we can start seeing that we can break down the ego, because oftentimes the ego, it's wanting to, it doesn't mean that the ego is a bad thing. It's about not being stuck in the ego, because the ego is trying to persecute. It's trying to rescue. It's trying to victimize ourselves and others. And when we do this, we take ourselves away from the highest perspective of self. The ego is good to create on this plane of potential, but the communication from ego does not need to be one that is allowing you to reduce your vibrational frequency into a place that's going to communicate from need or lack or scarcity. The opportunity is to flow into your higher self, to metamorph into the highest self. And from this place, you'll be able to cultivate a new element of emotion, of ethics, of logic, and you'll be able to communicate from a place of loving and creative intelligence. And this loving creative intelligence is what's going to allow you to work and co-create with your higher self. And so as we go through this, we do this in the essence of building our time and our action, right? So we step from ego into our higher selves, going through time or action. And I also build this in a separate way where we really get to cultivate this diamond, where we're actually available to really step through and build, right? And change the essence of how do we really build and cultivate a change that's going to give us an opportunity to manifest to manifest the most gracious and reliable way of building our sovereign mentality, our sovereign mindset. So as we go through this, we go through what is our current beliefs, what are our current beliefs? How are we currently focusing on the processes that we're delivering? What time and what is our dream outcome? Where do we want to go? Right? Because really we need to focus on the thesis of to our stories are created in our minds. And we're changed through our experience. And as a result, our dreams are developed. So how do we want our dreams to be developed? What do we want to change? And we, at the end of the day, have decisions versus the external conditions. And the decision, the equation of conscious creation is based off of the law of creative potential. So our current belief plus our implemented process, right? To the exponent of time is going to include our dream outcome. However, the thing is that with our process and implementation, it can actually cultivate through the steps of our evolution as a creator. We can actually break down society's expectations. And these society's expectations are going to allow us to focus on outcome on process rather than outcome, right? Because for so long, when you know inside of yourself, when you know that you are who you are and how you need to show up and what you need to do to cultivate change, you're going to create an essence that attracts your outcome. You no longer have to do, you just have to be. And society's expectations are the opposite, that you have to do in order to be. Can we use our life as an experiment to create our dreams, to create the real powerful dreams? Because we focus on failure versus victory. How about gratification? Is there needs to be immediate gratification versus delayed? So, oftentimes, especially myself, I've been on a journey where I couldn't see the results immediately. So I'd given up in the past. I've like especially when I started and I was unconscious, I remember being so scared to go out into the into the world of travel and online and delivery. And I really wanted to understand that from this capacity, this was going to give me the freedom to go out there and still explore myself. And when we're going out there to explore ourselves, you want to have that life by design. You want to create that life by design. You don't want to be scared about things. And oftentimes the mind or society's expectations takes us away from that. And if we don't have the opportunity or things start to compound, we actually take a back seat and we're like, okay, we need to be safe. We need to be safe. But the truth is that safety is something that is of the mind, Safety is something that allows you to put yourself in fear. Because what if you're already safe? What if the universe is actually showing you every single day that you get to live life on the edge? And if you live life on the edge, that you can actually make a bigger and more transformational change. And the biggest level of abundance is the one that's inside you. So people who stick at this long enough and experience this compounding effect often forget what was responsible for creating it. This makes things, appear chaotic and out of control, from their eternal being to the external being, and it shows up outside of you, right? And this is the thing is like, how do we want this world to compound? And so if we are willing to really live at a place of true trust and surrender, and the time that we're focused on enjoying the process continue to compound our creation as co-creators with our creator, the eternal one, right? And so this is really like, as a human race, we've forgotten about, the deposits we're making now to influence our future, because everyone is focused on what it means to be safe, to be secure. And I'm not saying everyone, I'm saying most people, my apologies. So if you're safe and secure, you get to live a life where it's based off of an expectation of having fear rather than allowing yourself to tap into the real truth, which is like the universe has got my back. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to continue figuring this out. It's going to be okay. We're going to continue moving forward. And from this state, you're allowing yourself to exist in co-creation, right? You're allowing yourself to be part of the eighth wonder of the world, which is compound. Compound interest on your life. Compound interest on the things that mean the most to you. Compound interest on your passion, on your purpose, on your vision, on the way that you get to manifest the creative understanding of the people around you. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't will pay it. And so let me ask you a question. If you are in this moment, in this creation, in this experience, in this life, focused on the compound journey of your experience, are you paying it or are you earning it? Are you earning the ability to generate more goodwill, more opportunity, more transformation, or are you paying and losing it? Very powerful question, right? Because the false paradigm teaches us that knowledge is power, but knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. And without acquiring the knowledge, these visions, these understandings, you will suffer and live in suffering. And suffering is a choice, right? Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice, right? And we get to choose every single day how we want to live our lives. And if we want to suffer, if we choose to suffer, this is our responsibility. This is nobody else's responsibility. Pain can happen. Pain is something that I agree. It will continue to come in and out in pain, but people make a choice to suffer, right? Thoughts, most people believe old beliefs, but now we know that you don't need to, you can reprogram your old belief system. You can change your old belief system. You can reprogram the past, the way that things have happened in the past, but you need to confront these. And if you want to confront these, you will be willing to challenge them. You'll be willing to focus and transform. And this will give you the essence of really stepping into building the right foundation to evolve as a conscious creator, right? Most people, again, seek the immediate gratification. Listen, I've been doing this for 5 years, traveling around the world, and I still catch myself finding immediate gratification or seeking it, but it's not effective. It's not effective. Nothing is effective immediately. And if we give up too fast, we're not going to experience the success of what our soul really wants us to create. We're not going to experience the purpose of why we're here, right? So promise to yourself to be a continuous student, be passionate about be passionate about learning, right? Like, if we continue to look at each other and realize that we live in the multiverse, right? In a world full of possibilities of multiple thousand, millions, billions of universes, because we all have our own universe. We're all the king and the queen of our own universe. If we're able to learn from each king or queen of their own universe, which is equal to each other person, you become a student for life. Everybody is your teacher. And therefore, you're also a great teacher as well. And this is why sticking to a process, taking consistent action, sharing will result in compound interest, right? So people have been asking me, what is business nirvana? Now, business nirvana, simple. I told you guys, it's like, how can we create a life by design? Right? How can we really live in an enlightenment state with our businesses in a co-creative compassion? And how can we take ability to take somebody that we don't know, completely unaware in their own levels of awareness, completely unaware in your product and your service, and turn them into somebody that's raving fan, really loves you, connects with you, and is getting the results necessary to live their own life by design. That you, and you don't need to work with them one-on-one. You don't need to spend time. You don't need to, you're able just to give wholeheartedly by being in your center, by being in your center, right? And so, I've talked about this in the past so often about, especially when I was focused strictly on marketing. It's like, how are we uniquely identifying our methodologies or the way that we're componing? What are we doing to connect to an audience that we really love and connect with? How are we writing? How are we writing and generating this momentum to build connection, to build an understanding? And what are we offering? Is the offer valuable? Is it something that lights you up? And let me ask you something. If it doesn't light you up, it will not light your audience up. And this is just a fact, right? This is just a fact, because if we want to get ourselves the dream outcome of living a life full of conscious creativity, of service, of value, then we also need to look at what's the dream outcome of the people that we often want to serve. And oftentimes, the problems that we're solving is the same thing that we're wanting to solve in ourselves, which is usually a cash flow experience. Well, we want to generate money, right? So using, whether you're of this world, whether you've worked in different dynamics of dimension, whether you understand the playfulness of different dimensions, we need to currently, it doesn't matter what you believe about the financial system, the literacy of it, the connection to it. Right now, the importance is understanding that we're living of this world as well, and using and implementing cash flow is how we're going to generate change. You can, if with more cash flow, you can create bigger change, right? So if the dream outcome is to generate more cash flow, get more clients with value, really focused on how this can be complex and possible and what the time frames look like, you can start building a plan, right? So if you have a dream plan and you have an offer, how can you package your expertise, teach you to get more clients? What can it look like? How does the economics work? Where does it resonate with your audience, right? Is it a done for you package? Is it done with you? Is it coached? Is it 5,000, 10,000, 12,000? What are the prices? And then what's the marketing momentum? How are you attaching the way that you're really emphasizing this? Is it a creator that's having struggled to provide a clear service and expertise to its people? Are you struggling to get clients? Are you wanting to make more than you could working for somebody else? And this is sometimes really urgent. Really having this ability to focus will give you your marketing momentum, multiply your resonating offer, and get you your dream outcome. So, in summary, what is the law of creative potential? We talked about it. It's the current belief plus the process, right? The implementation. What are we doing? To the exponent of time, which is going to give you the dream outcome that you want to really achieve. How can we implement this through our marketing momentum, adding it to our resonating offer and then delivering that, right? And so don't get carried away. Like I said, you don't need to be a business guru. You don't need to make this difficult. All I'm saying is you get to deliver this in a process that can be so enhanced and creative that gives you an opportunity to win. All you need to think about is saying, okay, I'm actually going to focus on this group of individuals. For example, you're in the healing space and you want to help women under 40 really start developing a better way of loving themselves, seeing themselves as beautiful. How can I communicate to them my own experience? Because really, maybe you are that woman under 40 that really wants to feel more beautiful, and you've done it for yourself, right? And when you've done this for yourself, it's easier to support the people that you want to help, because oftentimes we're just trying to solve problems that we've solved for ourselves as well. And this is where you become the creator of your own life, because you've done it in your own experience, and this is the dream outcome that you've achieved in your own life. And when you built already this relationship with yourself, it's easy to communicate that to the relationship that you have with others. And this will allow you to stay in your highest self, because the relationship that you've cultivated here with you've cultivated with your higher self. And then as a result, you're now allowing yourself to express this, right? Because you're seeing the limitations that you've broken down, and you're staying in that center, and you're focusing on transformation, right? And this will give you the cash flow, the equation to generate a business, a momentum, a transformation that will give you an opportunity to succeed. So setting your creative consciousness. This is something that I am going to talk about in another video. But if you love this, please subscribe, please comment, please share this on Facebook, Instagram, and go and check out also my podcast, because I have a podcast called the Resilient Minds Podcast, where I talk about how do we take our experiences, turn them into our purposes, and what can we do. And if you really enjoyed this, I have a lot of free data. So like I have an alignment course, but I also have a webinar that I do every couple of weeks. So if you go to ericbalance.com/webinar, this is also something that, I really want to provide more value. And I have a Facebook group called the Conscious Collective. And I'd love for you guys to go out there and check it out. And I'll continue doing these videos, sharing them, how you can create your creative consciousness, what we can do as business foundations, what can we do as transformation and change, and how do we build our sovereignty, our mindset, our delivery mechanisms, our transformations in life, so that we can continue delivering the most value to the most people with the most influence, and being a force of change, being a force of good, being a force of opportunity. This is our gift to the world, and we get to do this at such an elevated state together. Okay? I love you guys. I'll see you soon.